So hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video I am going to be doing my 300 sub special for What If Naruto Was Tanjiro. And I just want to thank you guys a lot for getting me all the way to 300 subscribers. And also, if you noticed, there's like this artwork of me and I think it looks really cool. Razer had this too, so I decided why not make it for myself. So yeah, I made one for myself, and yes, I did draw that. So yeah, but with that said, let's just get right into the video. Now basically how this thing is gonna work is basically Minato is gonna seal the Nine Tails within Naruto and Nezuko. So you might be saying, but Naruto doesn't have a sister. Well, now Naruto in this What If is gonna have a sister called Nezuko, which is a very original name, but like, you know, it fits, so I'm keeping it. And I don't know if Minato's Reaper Death Seal can do this, but basically Minato put 90% of the Nine Tails within Nezuko and 10% of it within Naruto. And this was not actually on purpose. It's just since Minato was already gravely injured from being stabbed or clawed, I guess, and pierced through the stomach, the seal didn't work exactly quite as planned, and the Nine Tails was sealed more within Nezuko and a lot less within Naruto. So, as Naruto and Nezuko grow up, Danzo ends up telling everybody that Nezuko is the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and for this reason, everybody starts hating Nezuko and starts calling her a demon. Which, if you have watched Demon Slayer, you'll understand why that's incredibly convenient for our purposes. But nobody actually knows that 10% of the Nine Tails is sealed within Naruto, and not even Naruto knows. So Danzo never said anything about that. And since Naruto is Tanjiro's reincarnation, he also has Tanjiro's incredible sense of smell, which makes him really helpful around the village because he's a really kind person who, unlike in real or original Naruto, is actually liked by the village and helps people out a lot, doing work for the villagers and helping them out with his above average physical strength and his incredible sense of smell. Now, the only problem in Naruto's life would be protecting Nezuko, because everybody would hate Nezuko, and there would be people that don't like Naruto because Naruto is Nezuko's sister, and Nezuko is basically gonna look like, I don't know. You can decide what Nezuko looks like. Write it down in the comments maybe. But basically Naruto would always, end up protecting Nezuko from everyone else. And since Nezuko has 90% of the Nine Tails within her, she's gonna kind of be like Naruto in the original, where Naruto had whiskers and things that kind of made him resemble the Nine Tails. And since Nezuko has even more of the Nine Tails than Naruto, she is almost constantly going to look like a demon Nezuko from Demon Slayer. So that's generally what Nezuko looks like. And just Naruto ends up having to just defend her all the time because she isn't very strong, and the villagers keep trying to just throw rocks at her, and nobody really likes Nezuko. and people always keep making fun of her for being the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, even though the villagers don't actually understand what it means to be a Jinchuriki. So, because of this, Naruto is probably happier than he is in the original, being for the fact that he actually lives with somebody else in his house, and Hiruzen actually took at least a bit better care of Naruto, because he didn't know that this Nine-Tails was sealed in Naruto at all, so Hiruzen took better care of Naruto generally, which did lead to Naruto and Nezuko having a lot better lives than in the original. So that's kind of how it is, and that's just how they do everything until the first day of the academy. Now, on the first day of the academy, everyone's really excited, and Naruto and Nezuko just head off, and they're just happy to be joining the academy. So basically, Naruto and Nezuko were like the first people to walk into the room. I mean, there were some other people who were there as well, but Naruto and Nezuko were mostly the first people there, and yeah, after all, they were probably the people who were most excited for it. Now, this is mostly because, well, Nezuko was, to be honest, they kind of just wanted a place where, they were away from all the villagers, and, a place where they could be with people who understood them and would be their friends. Now, it won't take too long for them to understand that the people, all the little kids, and the academy students here don't really like them. I mean, a lot of people like Naruto, but since Nezuko has Nine-Tails, and well, Naruto too a little bit, but people don't know about that, so nobody really likes them. And they find this out pretty painful, they find this out the hard way, because after everyone else gets in, people just don't want to sit next to them, and everybody seems to be purposefully trying to avoid them, especially Nezuko. Now, the people don't actually hate Naruto, and a lot of people do sit next to Nezuko, but Naruto, but people usually avoid Naruto too, because he insists on being next to Nezuko, and the others insist on not being next to Nezuko, so they kind of avoid Naruto too, indirectly. But as class starts, it becomes pretty clear that Naruto is very skilled and probably a prodigy. Maybe not at Sasuke's level, but he is a very hard worker and very talented as well. I mean, from the start, Iruka can tell that Naruto and Sasuke will probably be the two best people here, and they both have high chakra reserves and seem to be very, attentive and skilled. Now, after some time, Iruka decides to have a test sort of thing to assess the levels of everyone and kind of understand how good or bad everyone is. And they start with a written exam. Now, Nezuko and Naruto don't do really well, but they're not the worst either. They're just mostly average. And in the running and durability test, they are both really, really good. And although Nezuko places about average, maybe a little bit below average, but Naruto is very far at the top, actually number one, beating Sasuke barely, because he is always used to doing lots of work and has a high amount of stamina. Now, the reason Nezuko isn't so far up is because she doesn't have actual control over her Nine-Tails power yet, and so she can't really use it in any way, as you might have expected. Now, after a couple other things like kunai throwing and other stuff, Iruka decides that it's probably time for a spar. And this was mostly for his own reasons, and he wanted to see Naruto and Sasuke fight, so he kind of just not rigged it, but he made it so that Naruto and Sasuke are sparring. Everybody else will be sparring with other people too, but Naruto and Sasuke are sparring. And people aren't really necessarily just fangirling over Sasuke. I mean, they are, but they don't necessarily hate Naruto either. So this is actually, the favors are pretty even when it comes to both of them going into this match. And really, at this point, Naruto and Sasuke are pretty even in skill. Now, Sasuke immediately dashes at Naruto the instant the match starts, because he really wants to prove that he is superior, and just is thinking that he'll beat Naruto and prove he's the best. But Naruto also wants to win and earn the respect of everyone else here. And so they both really want to win this match, so they both go all out. And Naruto immediately dodges and punches Sasuke back with a punch equally strong, if not stronger. And Sasuke does have more skill in fighting, so he's able to block Naruto and sends a flurry of punches and just jabs in general to Naruto's direction. And Sasuke has an advantage in speed, so there's not much Naruto can do, but Naruto still decides to play defense and just try to avoid the punches and kicks Sasuke in the gut, sending him flying backwards. Sasuke immediately gets back up, and he takes out a kunai, throwing it at Naruto. Now, Iruka was about to step in to stop the kunai because he wasn't even sure how Sasuke got his hand on that, but Naruto was just barely able to dodge it with the kunai just scratching and cutting his arm a little. Nothing deep, but still, his arm was cut. But now, Naruto was kind of mad, as he just ran at Sasuke with full strength and punched Sasuke into the ground. And he didn't stop there. He kept barraging Sasuke with constant attacks. But Sasuke leaped backwards, getting some space, and after catching his breath for 1 second, he started weaving hand signs and said, "Fireball Jutsu," as a huge fireball came out of his mouth, engulfing Naruto in flames. And although Naruto was able to half dodge it, he still took half the blow, which is an incredibly high amount, judging how strong Sasuke's fireball is. And Naruto was knocked back, and he just got knocked unconscious, and he was just passed out, and Iruka immediately sent him to the hospital. Later that day, when Naruto woke up, he saw Nezuko waiting for him and asked her how her spar went. And she just said that she sparred against Sakura and was able to win, although it was a close match. And Naruto just smiled and said, "Good job, I knew you could do it." And Nezuko was more worried about Naruto, asking if he was alright. And Naruto simply replied, saying that he felt just fine. And, the doctor came in being like, "Oh, Naruto, good to see you're awake. So, you don't seem to have any permanent damage, although the fireball did leave a scar on your forehead. And now, if you have watched Demon Slayer, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, Tanjiro has a scar on his forehead, And this is gonna be how I'm giving Naruto this same just thing on his forehead so that he can look even more like Tanjiro, which is gonna be great for just having Naruto be like Tanjiro. So yeah, Naruto didn't sustain any permanent damage and he was just fine, but there was a scar on his forehead. Tanjiro didn't mind this. I mean, Naruto, oh my god, Naruto and Tanjiro at this point are so similar, I'm mixing them up. So Naruto didn't mind this scar too much, so he was just like, yeah, it's fine. But he was also kind of mad at Sasuke. He didn't have to go that far, but he wasn't mad, no. He was more disappointed in himself. He should have been able to dodge that. What if this was a real scenario? He would have been dead easily. And if he can't beat Sasuke, he won't be able to become a ninja like all of the other people out there. And he wanted to be Hokage, so if he couldn't beat Sasuke, he couldn't be the strongest person in the village. And if he wasn't the strongest in the village, he wouldn't become a Hokage. So Naruto decided that from this day on, he would be training extra hard every day, even harder than he normally does, just to beat Sasuke one day. That was his resolve after that fight. Now, the rest of his time in the academy went pretty normally, with Naruto and Sasuke consistently being the top two performers in the class, although none of them being able to get a clear victory over the other. But the main event that did happen came later, one day after school. Naruto and Nezuko were going back home together, and suddenly, Naruto caught a store. Like, from the edge of his vision, he saw a store, and it seemed to have a delicious smell coming from it. He was like, you know what, we don't have really good food at home, so maybe we should go check it out. And Naruto did have some money on him, so he didn't mind too much. And they were just heading off to the area when they entered, the person there, like inside the shop, he just saw Nezuko and was like, "You get out of my shop right now." And Naruto was like, "Yo, chill, it's not that big of a deal." And this man had some sort of crazy grudge against Nezuko, well, the Nine Tails, and he hated Nezuko for being the Nine Tails, or that's at least what he thought. And so the Nine Tails had killed this person's parents and daughter. So not really understanding what a Jinchuriki is, and not understanding that this isn't Nezuko's fault, really just had to take out his anger on someone. So he started chasing down Nezuko. Now, Naruto tried to protect Nezuko, but the man was pretty strong, and although Naruto could hold his own in a fight, he didn't really want to get in a fight. Now, Naruto just picked up Nezuko and started running, and the guy kept chasing them all the way into the forest, far from the village. Well, far from where the village was still visible, and that's where he decided to stop. And he just caught his breath as he realized that he had lost a person. They were fine. Which is when a kunai came flying at his face, and he was barely able to dodge. As he looked up, he had no idea what was happening, but he just saw that kunai coming out of nowhere. Then he smelled it, because Naruto has Tanjiro's sense of smell, meaning that he probably has the best sense of smell in the entire Naruto universe. I mean, maybe Kiba's sense of smell is better. You know what? I think Tanjiro's sense of smell is better than Kiba's. Not gonna lie. I mean, he can smell like things that don't have a smell, if you get what I mean. Like, you know that thing where he smells that line between the enemy and himself so that he can strike with a sword. Like, bro, this guy has smelling abilities that are beyond Kiba's comprehension. So Naruto smells the person, and he instantly realizes that this person is quick and definitely a lot stronger than the person chasing them. Definitely not the same person, but who was it? As another kunai came right in their direction. This time, Naruto noticed something. It wasn't aimed at him. It was aimed at Nezuko. And he once again was barely able to dodge out of the way. But the next kunai came a lot faster, and it actually hit Nezuko in the leg. And Naruto was immediately in a state of panic, and after hiding behind a tree, tried taking out the kunai from Nezuko's leg. It was bleeding terribly, and Naruto knew that he had to heal Nezuko. As more kunais started coming from out of the trees, Naruto couldn't do anything. The kunais kept coming, and he had no idea how to stop them. Now, afterwards, after a bit of running, the man revealed himself. He had black hair and an interesting robe. In his hand was a long sword that looked like nothing Naruto had seen before. Now, Naruto was about to run away, but he noticed he had to fight. This guy was way faster than him, and running away would fix absolutely nothing. As Naruto asked who he was, and the man revealed that he was here to assassinate Nezuko. And he mostly referred to Nezuko not by her name, but calling her a demon. And so he just said, "Let the girl go and I'll handle this peacefully without hurting you." But Naruto yelled never as he picked up the axe that he had been carrying on him, because he always carries an axe on him, and he just did that thing that Naruto did when he was facing Tomioka, where he threw the axe and he threw the axe up, ran from the other side of the tree, attacking him, and distracted him long enough so that the axe could almost hit Tomioka, but he survived, as he immediately went to slice Naruto with his sword. But this time, Naruto was saved by Nezuko. And Naruto realized that Nezuko's wounds on her leg had healed, which definitely surprised her, but he had no time to question it now, as he immediately picked up his axe that he had just lost and just started running at Tomioka, as suddenly a bit of flame started surrounding the axe, but they disappeared afterwards. But even though it was just for a brief moment, Tomioka's eyes widened, and he dodged out of the way, not attacking Naruto, but just going away, being like, interesting. And then all he did was just say, "Kid, it seems like you have potential in that demon. It's very interesting." And afterwards, he just disappeared, leaving nothing but a small piece of paper behind. And on the paper was an address. Now, Naruto had no idea where this address was going to, and he had no idea where the assassin had gone. I mean, he said he had come to kill Nezuko, and then after Nezuko saved Naruto and whatever Naruto did, trying to swing at him with his axe, the man seemed to have been impressed and satisfied, deciding to leave. Now, although Naruto understood nothing, he was just grateful to be alive, and he picked up the card, looking at the address, saying, "This isn't too far from here, I can walk there." And the only other thing it said on the card was Actually, no, it said nothing else on the card. It was just an address, and that was all. So that is kind of where I'm going to end off this episode. And this is very different from what I usually do, but, I just wanted to have something unique happen for my 300 sub special. So yeah, that is going to be it for today's episode. Make sure to come back next episode to see what happens after this amazing cliffhanger. But yeah, see you next time. And that's all.